Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait, that's not my intro. Hello, fine dudes and dudettes. God, no, that's not it either. Hey guys, it's mblohr here, and welcome back to another video here on the mblohr channel. Now, here's the thing, alright? I was up all night, last night, working on this video, trying to get it in before midnight, because that's when it was due. And I didn't have time to work on a video, obviously, because yesterday you didn't get a video. So I decided to post this today. And it's not like your average mblohr video. It's my philosophy video that I was working on. So I don't know, it'll be interesting, I guess. For those who aren't subscribed, this isn't normally what I do on this channel. I just don't have a second channel at the moment. I'm trying to get one for the streams and stuff. Planning on putting all my streams on a second channel, and then my CSGO videos will still stay in the main channel though. But yeah, so this is just a philosophy film that I made. I hope it's interesting somewhat, and I hope you guys like it. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Enjoy. Philosophy. Commonly accepted as some sort of proverb that people live their lives by.
That's my new philosophy!
It's also the study of the difference between the truth and fiction, right and wrong. And with that comes the study of virtue and the truly virtuous person, which is where ethics get fuzzy, because according to Thomas F. Wall's ethical egoism, one should do whatever is in one's self-interest. So what is ethical egoism, and how can it make selfish deeds be considered the thing to do? Before we talk about ethical egoism, though, we need to first consider consequentialism, which is exactly what it sounds like, considering the consequences of every action before doing that action. For example, thinking about how much trouble you'll be in if you steal candy from your little brother Jimmy's Halloween candy bag, since you're too old to trick-or-treat anyway. No one will notice, not even Jimmy. In this scenario, consequentialists would say that stealing candy would be worth it, since the worst thing that could happen is that your parents scold you. Totally worth a nice, fun-sized Snickers bar. Ethical egoism goes a step further and defends the fact that you stole a candy bar from little Jimmy as the thing you should do, since it provided a great outcome for you, a fantastically delicious Snickers bar. This is not the same as rational egoism, which states that it is rational to act in one's self-interest. Ethical egoism simply states that the act that is based in self-interest is something you should do, not the right thing to do. To dive deep into ethical egoism, we need to consider pleasure versus pain. This is a common theme in consequentialism, putting the positives and negatives of the outcome into consideration. With our example, the only pain possible, for you at least, is a possible scolding, maybe even some damaged hearing from Jimmy's screams during a temper tantrum. The pleasure is the sensation of a nice Snickers bar. So then what if everyone was an ethical egoist? How would everyone solve their own self-interests? Before we talk about how they resolve situations like that, we need to talk about the different forms that ethical egoism takes. There are three forms of ethical egoism: individual, personal, and universal. An individual ethical egoist would say that everyone ought to act in their self-interest. A personal ethical egoist would say that they themselves should act on their own self-interest, but that other individuals can do whatever they choose. A universal ethical egoist would state that every individual ought to do what is in their self-interest. These can be easily confused with one another. I know I'm getting confused talking about it, so let's relate it back to Jimmy's candy. Suppose that you were a personal ethical egoist. Then, you would think the same things before. Getting a Snickers bar is in your best interest and not think much about what anyone else ought to do. However, let's say that you were instead an individual ethical egoist. Then you would expect Jimmy to bring you his bag to take candy out of, since you believe that everyone should do what's in your best interest. But if you were a universal ethical egoist, you would still take the candy, and you would say that Jimmy can do what is in his self-interest as well. So you would assume that he can take one of your sodas in the fridge. Obviously, this would create discord. No, not that discord. This discord. Conflict arises from individuals that take actions based in their own self-interest, as you would expect. As for our situation, you and Jimmy would eventually erupt into an argument because obviously you had two different viewpoints on the situation. Though we may think this is where the problem lies in this kind of mindset, ethical egoists have resolutions to this problem of having opposing self-interests, or in some cases, the same specific self-interest of limiting. According to Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, if two individuals come across something in nature that pertains to both their self-interest, one resolution, instead of conflict, is that they should split it in half. So, if you were to go about pursuing that resolution, you would try to convince Jimmy to give you half the bag, since you both end up getting what you want in the viewpoint of ethical egoism. Another resolution is by an individual pursuing logically the fact that they have a right to create harm for those who intrude on their self-interests. In this case, you basically would explain to your upset brother Jimmy that it is better that he lose his candy than you not have any at all. Good luck taking him to court to prove it. The final resolution possible is by claiming the rights of each individual as a standard. This would solve our situation, but not in the way you would want it to. This basically would cause you to consider Jimmy's rights to his candy, seeing that it is his property. Therefore, you would refrain from taking a piece of candy, and, therefore, resolve the predicament. Except, well, no candy for you. Because I'm planning on putting all my streams. Hello.